Greetings to everybody. Now, if you've been watching the news, you would know that a few days ago, a Dutch court decided to prosecute Geert Wilders. He's been basically charged for inciting hate speech, and he's going to go on trial. Now, the Islamophobes are not happy about this. They've come out of their holes, such as Pat Condell, and they're complaining. They're claiming that freedom of speech is being attacked yet again. Now, throughout this story, there's a lovely irony. There's a lovely irony which none of these Islamophobes seem to want to mention. They don't seem to want to talk about it. But I'm going to fill you in on the irony, which just makes this whole situation lovely and funny at the same time. Now, as you all know, this news incident involves a man named Geert Wilders. This is the same man who called for the Quran to be banned. Essentially, this is the same man who wants Islam to be banned. Essentially, this is the same man who wants to take away the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion of Muslims. Do you notice the irony? So notice, these people are complaining that a man's freedom of speech is being taken away from him, yet this is the same man who seeks to take away the freedom of speech from others. You see the irony? You see the paradox? Where were all of these Islamophobes when Geert Wilders called for the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion to be taken away from the Muslims? You would expect that these people who care about freedom of speech, you would expect that these are the first people who would be out there standing up against Geert Wilders. After all, if you're for freedom, I would expect you to be out there protesting against Geert Wilders' preaching. Yet guess what? These same Islamophobes who are complaining about freedom of speech, these were the same Islamophobes who stood beside Geert Wilders and said we support him and what he says. So you notice the irony. These Islamophobes who are crying foul play about freedom of speech being taken away, these are the same people who support a man who says ban the freedom of speech of Muslims. So notice, if the Quran was banned, these people wouldn't care. They would support it, as they openly said. So don't be deceived by these people. They are hypocrites. They are filled with double standards, and they are two-faced, acting like they really care about freedom of speech. In fact, the irony continues. On Pat Condell's video, you'll find hundreds of comments. You'll even find that they made a petition. This petition says, we support Geert Wilders. So let me get this straight. You people who claim to be for freedom of speech claim you stand beside and you support a man who wants to ban freedom of speech for Muslims. How does that work? I'm against the banning of freedom of speech, so by showing my support, I'll go support a man who wants to ban freedom of speech. Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's a lovely irony. I told you, it's a lovely irony. I hope Geert Wilders enjoys what's going on. At the end of the day, he's being fed his own medicine, after all. Why are you complaining, Mr. Geert? This is what you called for. You wanted the same thing to happen to Muslims. Make no mistake, if Geert Wilders was in power, he would be doing the very same thing. And the very same people who are now complaining would be supporting him. So you just have to laugh. You just have to smile at Pat Condell and his videos. You just have to laugh at them, because the irony is so beautiful, you could write a poem about it. Just laugh at them. Just laugh at their frustration and just tell them, Why so serious? Exactly. Why so serious, Pat? Why are you so angry? This is what you wanted. You supported Geert Wilders, and you obviously support him now. So obviously you're not for freedom of speech. So don't complain when the tables are turned on you. Now, Pat Condell made a claim in his video. He said that 60% of Dutch people view Muslims and Islam as a threat. Ooh, is this the same Holland who recently voted for a Muslim mayor in the city of Rotterdam, the second most highly populated city in Holland, Mr. Condell? Is this the same place? Oh yes, there's such a threat that we're gonna vote them in as a mayor. So either way, folks, Pat Condell is frustrated because he sees the rise of Muslims in Europe, and he sees that his hate campaign alongside Geert Wilders' hate campaign and propaganda is going nowhere but down the drain. Because you see, folks, for the hundreds of thousands of people who watch Pat Condell's video and support him, there are hundreds of thousands of European Muslims and Muslims worldwide who will stand against him. And that just makes him very sad. So to all of you Islamophobes, bring it on. Bring all your propaganda and hatred on. It's not going to get anywhere. We're here to stay. So is Islam, and we're on the rise. And you can complain and cry and shout for all you want. It's not going to change the reality. Because God promised the Muslims that He would never allow them to be destroyed. It is one of the promises He made to the Prophet Muhammad. We would be large in number, and He would never allow us to be completely destroyed. So you can try to ban us, you can try to take us out, but it's not going to happen. We're on the rise, and you should get used to the reality and stop complaining about things that you support. Stop complaining that you're for freedom of speech when you're not actually for it. Again, I ask a question. If these people claim to care about freedom of speech, then where were they when Geert Wilders called for the banning of freedom of speech for Muslims? Where were they? They were supporting him. And now we're supposed to believe that these are the people who actually care about freedom of speech. These people don't care about freedom of speech. They're just hypocrites. So either way, have a nice day.